Isn't that pond beautiful? Hey guys, it's Cassidy and welcome back to my brick phone videos. Thanks for tuning in. If you're liking my content so far, please share it with a friend. These are cool trees. It's a nice little walk. Now, I would love to be a full-time musician. That's kind of my dream. A full-time composer even. Or a full-time just session musician. Anything to do with music, right? I'd love to be able to just, live off the stuff I love to do. And a lot of creative people face this problem as well. Whether they're a painter trying to paint a beautiful lake like this one, or a beautiful sunset. Or a musician who's writing and recording lots of music and is feeling really excited about it, but just doesn't know where to start with money. And this is a thing with creative people, right? They have all these skills, but they're not quite sure how to monetize their skills. Now, I've mentioned in an earlier video how to monetize your skills, so go and check that one out. But you see, basically, the concept of that video was where there's demand and where there's value. If you're the one with the value, then the person with the demand is going to pay for that value. That's kind of the very simple formula. But sometimes it might feel like, well, I would love to paint this, but I don't actually know anyone who wants to buy my paintings, right? Apart from maybe some old rich people who have space on their walls. But even then, if you go into your grandparents' house or something, you'll probably just see the same paintings that they've had for 20 years or whatever. So where do you actually start to becoming full-time in what you love to do? And I don't think there's one clear answer for this. I think you have to use your brain and think about how you're going to achieve that. Because it's really sad, and it breaks my heart a little bit to hear of people who studied a Bachelor of Music or something, or that they went to the School of Music, they did something else, or they put so much effort into their music only to hear years later that they have just got another job, right? I know some really talented musicians who have just sort of given up on their dreams to do music, and I'm like, what are you doing? You put so much hard work into this, and it's such a waste to kind of, just let it all go. And you hear of adults too, and I talk to them and I say, hey, have you ever done music before? And they say, oh yeah, I did piano lessons as a kid, or I did guitar lessons as a kid, and I really enjoyed it, but I've lost my ability to read sheet music, or I never kept up the practice. I think, wow, that was a lost art there. And I'm just thinking, I don't want that to happen to me, and I don't want that to happen to you either if you are interested in pursuing music as a career. Because what happens is when people face the first kind of roadblock, or suddenly they have to pay rent and they've got no money, they need security, right? So they let go of this kind of unstable income and find a job, a nice paying job, maybe it's in the public service or something, and it pays them really well. And it pays them again and again, and they don't love this job, but then their mindset shifts a bit, and they go, well, my guitar or my music, that'll become my hobby, and I'll just do this other job to fund my hobby. And they're in a job they don't like, but hey, at least it gives them more money and time to do the other things. Wrong. It gives them more money, it doesn't give them more time. The people who truly make it in music or arts, whether it's drama, visual art, dance, music, the people who truly make it and make a living are the ones who treat it full-time. Right? They treat it as a full-time job, as a public servant works full-time. So, I suspect that those people who chose that other path, the safer path, decided that because they never actually tried music full-time. They tried it as a side hustle, or they just didn't know where to start, and so they never tried. And that's the first red flag that you're not going to make it. But if you do want to make it, then you have to be creative with how to make money. And one of the best ways I've found so far is by teaching music, right? When I teach, sure, I'm not composing, I'm not performing unless I'm demonstrating something, which isn't a real performance really. But I'm still doing music, and I'm still teaching my passion, and I'm passing that on to someone else. and seeing the kids really enjoy the music, or the adults really enjoy learning. There's a bird. Ah, he didn't even say that, so I got distracted. But getting to see the light bulb moments in your students is really magical. And it has taken me about 3 to 4 years to really get to this point where I can say I'm making my living teaching music students. And, you know, I have somewhere between 10 and 20 music students, I can't quite remember, but it's enough, right? It's bringing in money for me. And sure, I'm not totally rich yet, but I'm making money from that. It's a business, and I've grown over time, and I've learnt many things about how to teach music, and I'm also just at the beginning of my music career. I'm sure by the end I'll be a much more fantastic teacher than I am now. The point is, I found a way to still do what I love and make money from it. And I think that's a great way for you to start out if you're not sure how you're going to survive out there with your music. And it was hard at the start. When I first posted online that I was doing music lessons, it probably took me several weeks before I even got an inquiry. That inquiry didn't even end up following through, and I was really disheartened. But my fiance was the one who encouraged me to start teaching, and so I held on, and she said, "Don't worry, you find about 50% of people don't actually follow through with their inquiry." So I waited again, and then I had my first student, and I taught my first lesson, and it was good. It was good. And then soon I had 2 students, then I had 3 students, then one of them dropped out, and eventually more and more joined. Some of them don't stick for long, but some of them do stay. And then I learned how to make the students stay for longer, how I can improve my content, improve my teaching style to make them excited about music lessons. And these are all things that I learned, but I had to start. And I had to decide, this is what I'm going to do, this is a business I'm going to build. And 3 years later it's paid off, and now it's paying my rent and my food and stuff. So, like, I think it's a good place for any of you to start, is teaching. And then, one of the other things was, Tabitha, my fiancée, told me, "Oh, why don't you," because I was just teaching bass lessons at the time, it was just bass guitar, and she said, "Why don't you try teaching guitar lessons as well?" And I thought, well, I'm not so good at acoustic guitar. But after a while I listened to her and I started, and bam, 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 all of a sudden I realised so many more people wanted to learn guitar too, so I practically tripled my number of students, and now today I have nearly all guitar students rather than bass students. And then I thought, well, I'm on a roll here, and so Tabby started teaching me the drums, and now I teach drums. I teach drum lessons. So I've expanded my skill set, and through that I've expanded my number of students, and therefore my income, which means now I'm doing what I love full time, which is studying music, teaching music, and composing. And I'm getting by. I'm not at the comfortable rich stage yet. I'm not at the comfortable rich stage yet, but there's still a lot of hustling to do. But I'm definitely getting there, get further than I was before. So hope that gives you some encouragement or some ideas. Monetize your skills. Remember to teach. If you have a creative skill, teach that skill. That's a way to make money while you build up your career. Until next time, guys, stay safe and stay sane.